Hello, I'm Nina Grewal, Member of Parliament for Fleetwood Port Kells, and welcome to the fall edition of my constituency report. As your MP, I've been busy these last few months performing my parliamentary duties, meeting with residents, and attending events. Today, I would like to bring you up to speed on what's happening in Ottawa and what that means for families here in Surrey. You know, when I speak to people throughout our community, the biggest concern for them is the economy. I wish the Liberals were as concerned. They seemed more interested in forcing Canadians into an election that no one seems to want. People here have a lot of questions about job security, help for families and workers, and what's going to happen down the road. I tell them the same thing that I'm going to tell you. This is a global recession. Every country in the world is being affected by it. But more than virtually any other country, Canada has a strong advantage. Simply put, we are stronger than most going into the global recession, and experts are telling us we are going to be stronger coming out. In fact, the International Monetary Fund predicts that Canada will lead other G7 countries out of the recession next year. So how did this happen? Well, we were better prepared than most going in. Our banks are strong and stable. Since taking office, our Conservative government had been paying down the debt, which gave us a stronger credit rating as a country. We also cut taxes across the board, including income taxes, taxes for small businesses, and of course reducing the GST from 7 to 6 to 5%. All of this conservative action helped make Canada one of the last countries to go into the global recession. When the crisis hit, a crisis that was stronger than anyone had predicted, our government took further action to protect Canada from the global economic storm. That's where Canada's Economic Action Plan comes in. Our plan is on track to protect the jobs, homes, and savings of everyday Canadians who are feeling the effects of the global recession. Last month, I gave a statement in the House of Commons regarding the Economic Action Plan and what it means for Surrey and all of BC. Here is what I had to say.
Mr. Speaker, with Canada's Economic Action Plan, our government is taking immediate action to stimulate the economy, create jobs, and assist Canadians. We are putting shovels in the ground to get Canadians working and to build the infrastructure our communities need. Since February, in BC, 480 projects worth $3.4 billion have been announced. These will create an estimated 21,000 jobs in communities across the province. In Surrey, there's money for the South Fraser Perimeter Road, a new city library, the Newton Recreation Centre, and area schools and parks. There's millions more for low-income senior housing, for employment programs, homelessness projects, and youth crime prevention. These investments are benefiting local residents in Surrey by creating jobs, boosting the local economy, and building long-lasting local infrastructure. That's what happens when we have a government that's listening to our local needs and getting things done for BC.
So how does our plan protect and create jobs? First, with an unprecedented investment in roads, bridges, recreation centers, water treatment plants, and other infrastructure from coast to coast to coast. There are projects happening all across the country that are improving communities as well as providing jobs for Canadians. Many of you may also know about our Conservative government's home renovation tax credit. No, lots of families are doing work on their homes and cottages now, so they can get up to about $1,350 back on their 2009 tax return. This credit helps families and is boosting local economies like ours at the same time. We are also starting to see results. In fact, in August, Canada added over 27,000 new jobs. We are also seeing how retail sales in the home renovation sector were up this summer thanks to the home renovation tax credit. But if Michael Ignatieff had his way, none of this would have happened. He and his Liberal MPs voted against the home renovation tax credit. It's confusing really, because so many people are counting on it. We are also taking action to protect jobs by extending work-sharing programs. For those of you who don't know, work-sharing helps prevent layoffs by lowering labor costs. This in turn helps businesses keep more of their employees working through the economic slowdown. That's why we are increasing the maximum length of work-sharing agreements to 52 weeks to help keep more Canadian workers on the job. But managing the challenges of the global recession is about more than just jobs and businesses. The global recession has left a lot of Canadians vulnerable. That's why we are increasing EI benefits for workers by an additional 5 weeks. And we are also extending benefits even further for long-tenured workers who have lost their jobs due to the global recession. This will give more time to look for work or retain for a new job. Yet Michael Ignatieff and the Liberals voted against these new measures too. It was only a couple of months ago that Ignatieff was threatening Canadians with an election. If we didn't take action to enhance EI, now he would try to force one because we are doing it. Speaking of Michael Ignatieff, a couple of weeks ago, I made another statement in the House of Commons concerning the Liberal leader and his trouble telling the truth. Here is what I had to say.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberal leader continues to prove why Canadians shouldn't trust him. He says one thing in public and another in private. He says one thing in the West and another in the East. And now he says one thing in English and another in French. This is not leadership. In early September, he criticized the HST, but then his office told the Ontario Premier he supported it. In BC, he says no money should go to the auto sector. Yet in Ontario, he says the opposite. And just this weekend, he complained about auto sector aid again, but this time in French. Does the Liberal leader support helping the crucial sector or not? A real leader says the same thing in both official languages, says the same thing in the West and the East, and doesn't say one thing in public and opposite behind closed doors. It's becoming clearer every day. The Liberal leader is not in it for Canadians, he's in it for himself.
Our government is also cutting taxes for families and businesses. This will help all of us keep a little bit more money in our pockets to make ends meet and make Canada a better place for companies and businesses to create jobs and to keep them here. In fact, you may have heard recently that Tim Hortons is returning their international headquarters to Canada. They are doing this because it makes a good economic sense for them. It's because our Conservative government's action has helped to create an attractive environment for international businesses to come to Canada. But protecting Canadians means more than ensuring our economic security. As anyone living here in Surrey knows, it means making sure our families and our communities are safe. As Conservatives, our government believes that the interests of hard-working families who play by the rules should come before criminals, that protecting victims is paramount. This year, we are working to get tough on white-collar criminals, the scam artists and fraudsters who steal from Canadian families. This session, our Conservative government will introduce new legislation that delivers mandatory jail sentences for criminals who commit serious fraud. We are also cracking down on drug dealers who sell to kids and who hang around the places in our community where kids play. We are also looking at another issue, one that I hear a lot of time. Often courts will give convicted criminals extra time of their sentences for time served before and during trial. Rather than simply acknowledging the time served, it is often multiplied, which can mean the criminal serves far less time. In some cases, criminals are given 3 for 1 credit for time served. That is simply wrong, and our government is taking action to stop it. We believe that serious crimes deserve serious time. So we have got a lot going on right now, and there's a lot of important action that we are delivering for Canadians. We have got to stay the course. Friends, our Conservative government is working for you. We are fighting the recession. We will continue to fight this recession and deliver for families in this community and for Canadians from coast to coast to coast. The following are some photographs taken at events I attended or hosted here in Surrey, including Justice Minister Rob Nicholson announcing the truth in sentencing legislation, Public Safety Minister Peter Van Loom at a gang violence roundtable at City Hall, and a rally against violence in our community. Canada's Economic Action Plan is having a direct impact here on our own community. Our government has been working with the BC provincial government and the city to get new projects underway. We are putting shovels in the ground to get Canadians working and to build the infrastructure our communities need. Last month, I was happy to announce a joint investment by the federal, provincial, and city governments to build a new $30 million city center library to enhance the civic center, which will include the new Surrey City Hall made possible by the Building Canada Fund and Infrastructure Stimulus Fund. This project will benefit local residents by creating jobs, helping to boost the local economy, and building longer-lasting local infrastructure. In the short term, building the library will create 192 jobs. For the long term, the people of Surrey get a great new facility that will serve generations to come. Last month, I also announced federal funding for 2 projects.